Hey everybody, it's Andy here. I came on Tolio, and we're back for a Vintage League, and we're going to play some Atraxa Oath today. There's a list that's been running around over the last couple months, the show and tell list, and I've always had a sweet spot for show and tell. I actually won a Vintage Challenge. Uh, I don't even think they were called Vintage Challenges back then with Oath of Druids, and it was show and tell, and I had Omni and an Emrakul in it, and it was a sweet list, and I've always loved this card, and as a result of that, I'm going to take it for a spin today and see how we do. I've made a couple changes from the conventional list. I'm not running 4 Atraxers. I've got the Grizzlebrand in place of the fourth Atraxa. I am one of the people that is not sure what is better. I think both of these cards actually have their pros and cons, and I've certainly seen some of the potency of Atraxa, drawing 5, 6 cards off it. The fact that it has vigilance is really powerful, and I do like that a lot. Whereas Grizzlebrand does not have vigilance, but of course, you can draw 14 cards off it right in the start and just win the game that way. So there is definitely some distinct features for both. So we're gonna try one Grizzlebrand out today in our list, and I've got a preordain in here instead of a flash. And more or less, I think it's the same as other people's lists. But we're going to take it for a spin today, guys. As always, I appreciate you hanging out. And please hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to see you in round one. Okay, guys, here we are in round one with Show and Tell Oath. Um, this hand does not really look very good to me. We are on the draw, so that is somewhat of an incentive to keep it. We have lands, we have a time walk, we have a force of will. That might be enough. I mean, this is one of the things about playing Oath of Druids that there is a lot of inconsistency to the deck, and there's a lot of bad top decks. But I am of the mind that we don't need to be aggressive, particularly in game one here. This does have a recipe for success in it. Non-waste landable land here, force of will, and a time walk. So obviously there's decks that we could just lose to with this hand, but Bazaar, I think, being our worst. Oh, Bayou. That's not a card I expected to see. Okay. Tabernacle. Interesting. Yep. Demonic Tutor resolves. Will this be a Black Lotus? Okay, that's for next turn. So we're looking for an Oath of Druids, first and foremost. We would settle for a Show and Tell. And we're also looking for... That's what I'm looking for. Mox, I guess, would be reasonable. I mean, that was one of the worst draws we could have, was the Tropical Island. Hopefully we don't get duressed or thought seized here. That would be unfortunate. Could just be an ancestral here. Although I don't necessarily associate decks with Bayou in them having ancestral, but that's of course easily fixed. Oh, fastball. It's pretty good. Hmm. I mean, I think we just cast Oath of Druids, right? Doesn't really matter. It's possible they have a Beseiju. Not much I can do about that. But that was a good top deck. Obviously, fastball is pretty scary here, but they didn't go off with it last turn. Saga's in. Time Walk. How do I feel about Time Walk? I think I just want to counter this. I just want to get going with what I'm doing. This is pretty aggressive of me, but I don't want to give my opponent time here. Yeah, it looks like that's going to work out for me. We're going to replenish our hand here off an Atraxa or Griselbrand, whichever one we get. I will be pleased with both. Actually, Griselbrand's probably better here because I know that way I'm going to get an Atraxa the following turn versus the other way. We got an Atraxa. There's the Griselbrand there. We know we're taking Soul Ring. Misty. Probably want to Ponder. And the only instant we have is Vampiric or Mental Misstep. I'm not sure which one I like more. Probably Vampiric is just a superior card. That said, they might have crop rotation or something here, so maybe Mental Misstep is fine. And do I want Griselbrand in my hand? I guess we could show and tell Griselbrand in. But I don't think we need to do that. I think I like this. I'm going to Ponder first here. Mox Emerald. Don't think we need to shuffle that. Giving them the token is inconsequential. We don't need a Citadel or anything. We'll just get an Ancestral here. Not that we get Citadel there, but I'm not going to trigger Oath. I think it's unnecessary. Let's get in. I am a little bit land heavy here. I will say that. I am going to Ancestral now. Use this green one because I have all sorts of stuff here. Okay, Narset's solid. I think I'm going to brainstorm proactively here. Don't want that. I get the other trop here. Already used our demonic here. I honestly don't think there's a whole lot to go for here. I'll probably just go find myself a Force of Will, I would think. Let's see what we can get here. Don't really want any of these. I'm just going to take another Oath of Druids. Preordain. Don't want that. We might want a Vampiric. I think that's reasonable. And I am going to just go and get Force of Will here. I think it's just what I want. Oh, I guess I milled all my Force of Wills. How funny. Well, that's underwhelming, isn't it, guys? Guess I'll get an Oko. All right, that's my turn. They've got a Saga. Lots of Piddlywinks, but be nice for us there. All right. Playing against a lands deck. Could see a couple Besagers coming in for lands. Perhaps a Force of Vigor. Maybe you could cut a show and tell for this. Don't know how good Flusterstorm is versus these type of decks. It's probably not at its best, I would think. I think Pithing Needles could be good against this style of deck. And perhaps a Soul Guide Lantern as well. Actually, I like Sensei's Top. Narset doesn't seem great. I don't think this is a deck that's likely drawing cards. Really hard to know because this is definitely what I would deem to be a rogue deck. Do I want Citadel and Tinker? Probably. This doesn't look like a deck that's super pressures you, but a 2020 Merit Liege certainly could make that the case. I'll just take out a pre-or day. Actually, you know what? I think it's better than Mystical Tutor. Let's try this. I think this is reasonable. How do I feel about this hand? I've got a couple Besagers to be able to combat a Dark Depths, and it's one of our only ways to truly combat a Merit Liege. Does this even do anything, though? I'm going to mulligan. This is much better. I mean, much better is an overstatement, but it's better. I'm glad I mulligan, because now we've got the needles still. We've got some interaction and the mental misstep. Yeah. Ooh, nice. Well, let's find something off the top that's good. An Oath of Druids would be a good start. That is not an Oath of Druids. So the question I have here is, do I want to play out this Pithing Needle proactively? And I don't think so. I'm presuming this to be a Dark Depths deck, but I'm not 100% sure. And I may want it for Urza's Saga, depending on what they lead out with here first. I also am not going to expose my Mox Emerald and my Trop at the same time. So a little bit of a flimsy turn from me so far. Unfortunate they had the Ancestral to get through my Force of Will in my hand, but it's like they traded their 2 cards for 1 card, though, with the Ancestral. They burned the Petal. Traded this card away for 1 extra, which is still fine. This definitely feels like a Loam deck. Can't stop that one. Okay, this is definitely a depth deck. Definitely. The issues these decks have sometimes is that they have the fast bond, but they don't have the critical amount of mana in hand required to make this card good. My opponent has 4 cards in hand. Do they expose their combo? Here's a crop rotation. They're just going to wasteland me. That's what this feels like. Yep. What's nice here is I have the green man Mox. Okay, that's pretty good. Don't want to expose it. The question I have here is, do I want to play this out now? I don't think so. I may have wanted to if I get wastelanded a game, but I think that's all right. So I do think we go and get an Oath of Druids here. Force of Vigor is a bit rough, but them's the breaks, right? Yuck. Well, they've turned my Oath on. And I guess they have an infinite combo here. I'm just going to have 6 here. They can... I'll let them gain a ton of life here. We're going to try and beat them. At least as I currently stand. Sweet. I do love it. Okay, guys, I just paused the video when my opponent was tinkering around there. They decided to take Mercy. I think they could have basically gained infinite life there had they wished to use their clock that way. So the good news for us, and basically is what keeping us in this game, is the fact that we have the on-color Mox here. And my opponent did turn on our Oath where we had no option. So this could be a victory for us potentially here. So let's see. Now we need to fade a draw step. Like my opponent, I guess my opponent technically can draw through their library here with the Nurturing Peatland, right? I guess that was one reason I wish we had another land here. Oh, they have Beseju. Okay. Guess we'll go get it. I mean, they just kill it though, right? They ripped a Beseju off the top. That's crazy. Not gonna. I failed to find. We'll concede from there. My opponent has their combo in play. All right. Well, I think I like the show and tell on the play. Just cut probe is probably just not at its best here. I think this is where I want to be. Oh, that's awful. We got a mulligan this one. What do we want to put back here? Probably can put one of my Moxes away here. Let's see what we can find with the Ponder here. Unfortunately, none of this is any good. Oh, guys, that's so bad. All right. Well, I probably should have played my Mox out there, so I had Besage up, but that was a little bit of an oversight. Potentially a big oversight. I was so stunned by drawing a Griselbrand off the top that I was unable to play out the Emerald, but that's okay. My opponent's deck is pretty scary here without counter magic up, so it was a gamble using the Ponder. Okay. Oh. I do like this. I mean, let's see what my opponent's got here. I don't think it really matters. We'll get a green because I know they're going to go after it, but let's see if this works. Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, let's draw some cards, guys. Have I played a land this turn? Don't think I actually have. I do believe I can just draw another 7 here. I don't think it matters that much. This counts as a forest. I could... No, I can't actually play Go Out, but I could play an Oath of Druids. Will set me up for an attraction the following turn. Or I could just sit on Besage. Don't think I need to worry about any of these. I'm just going to play a Soul Guide Lantern here. Get rid of that. We definitely like the Force. I guess next turn I can bring in Atraxa here with the Force. I definitely like Oko. I think I like Besage. And I wouldn't mind holding up Force of Vigor here. Ancestral. So we got a lot of cards we can get rid of here. Like, I don't need all of these. Would have loved to have hit a Time Walk, but we didn't. What's this? Crop rotation. They're just going to go and get a Caracas for me. Don't think I'm going to let that resolve, and this resolves the issue of me having to discard cards. As many cards. So that can go. Citadel can go. Brainstorm can go. And I also don't really feel like I need Vampiric here. My opponent's got a Tabernacle Pendro Vale. All right, well, that's not going to get it done as we currently stand anyways. Okay. I honestly don't even need to show and tell here, truth be told. Hmm. Yeah, I just don't even need to worry about it. I could draw cards, but I think it's going to be really hard for them to get through all this here. And so I don't think I need to overly worry about too much. I will play the Pithing Needle out. I'm just going to put it on Dark Depths. It's the only card that impacts me here as far as I can tell. And yeah, I think I'm pretty pleased with this. Like, the show and tell is not likely to bring in anything impactful from my opponent's deck. But I don't think it's a risk that we have to take here. Like, we just... At least not right now, anyways. Now that I have the Oko in, maybe I could punish my opponent for whatever it is they bring into play, but having the Force of Will here is strong. Yep. How do I feel about Fast Bond here? I mean, I can force it, but I also have a Force of Vigor. I think I'm going to let it go, and I will respond with Force of Vigor after their trigger or if they pass turn. Who's got more life gain now, buddy? My food tokens or the Zurin Orb? Okay, there we have it. Round one. See you next round. Okay, here we are, round two, guys. On the die roll. The Citadel's pretty clunky. We do have a show and tell eventually here. I think that this is probably not unreasonable. Go get a Black Lotus for next turn. Try and put a Trax into play. Is that what we want to do? Or what I could do is I can Vampiric Tutor right now, get Gitaxian Probe into Lotus. I think I like that. I think I like that line. I'm not sure what's better, Citadel or Atraxa, to be honest. Let's see if this works. So it's not likely to work. My opponent has Force of Will. Hull Breacher. Yeah, these are all good cards. Hmm. Just is what it is. Might actually want to put the Citadel in play because they have the swords. This is not going to resolve, of course, but if it did, knowing their hand, I think playing the Citadel is probably better. Okay, so they got rid of the Flusterstorm and the Force. Okay. This could be a tough one because my opponent has the Mana Crypt to turbo out their Hull Breacher, which could be tough on us. And of course, we got two pretty bad cards in our hand. There's the Ruby. Oath of Druids. All right, that's what I got. I mean, my hand was solid, but fragile. My opponent had a bit of a better start than me. Even if I do resolve something like an Atraxa, that Swords is there waiting for me. But it's otherwise a dead card in their hand. Oh, top was a good draw for them. All right. Not great. The good news for me is I don't really have filtering in my deck, like a lot of cards that draw cards. Atraxa negates Hull Breacher. Doesn't cause them to create treasures and us not draw cards. Griselbrand does. So that is another thing in favor of Atraxa. Tinker. Okay, so we're playing against the white initiative, blue-white initiative deck. And this is going to lay me to waste pretty quickly here. I think we're safe to concede here after this turn if we don't find something. The show and tell's our best draw. Okay, Time Walk buys me a turn. We will take that. Okay, that was rather embarrassing, to be honest. All right. Definitely want a couple dismembers. 3 Flusterstorms is probably pretty good. Don't think I want Sphinx of the Steel one, but kind of like what we've got for a creature package here. Like, I think we're reasonably well built to fight this deck. We just have to have the right side of things. Perhaps I'll keep a Toxic Deluge in the deck, just as some further removal, but so we need to cut 3 cards. I mean, Narset's okay. Mental Misstep is fine. Sensei's top. Tutor. Okay, maybe I'll cut a Deluge for now. I think Tinker Citadel on the play is fine. Don't think I need all these fluster storms. I think Besage is pretty soft. Let's try this. Little light on land, but cheating a tiny bit. But I think this is okay. Once again, having the Citadel in my hand is really suboptimal, but don't really want any of these. What's sad for me here is, and I should have put this together a little bit earlier, is that my Tinker target is my Citadel. So what I can do, well, not really. Yeah, we're losing this one very badly here. Okay. Step time vault. Okay, they did not kill me though. Okay, well. Unlikely, but let's try, guys. That's so disappointing to have that on the top of my library. All right, see you next round. Okay, there we go, guys. Round 3. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do here? This is Dees. Turn 1 Oath of Druids. Now, the bad news is we don't have an orchard. But the good news is that there's a very high probability we're going to resolve an Oath of Druids here. Excuse me. So my question here is do I force this through with a Flusterstorm? Or do I just let this resolve and just cast a second one, keeping Fluster? But I can't actually fight back if they have a second counterspell. I think I'm going to Fluster here. I think it's greedy of me not to. I realize that, why not save the Flusterstorm for a spell that matters later and recast the Oath of Druids? The issue is that if I lose both my oaths here, it's bad news brown for me. In typical Oath of Druid fashion, you draw your creatures. Tinker. Narset, yeah. So, wish I had a Flusterstorm now to be able to deal with whatever it is they're going to find here, but they got a Flusterstorm now. We're distinctly looking for a Forbidden Orchard here. I mean, Show and Tell is fine too, despite not as good. Lots of man over there. See what they find. So we'll see how this works here, but I believe we're going to get their Citadel off the table. We had to do it in that sequence because if they put an Ancestral on top, they will have priority. If I let the Vampiric resolve, and they'll just cast the Ancestral, and me putting it on the stack at that point is not ideal. But that said, they get to probably put an Ancestral on their library and do it next turn. So, kind of a difficult decision. I am going to cast a second Oath of Druids now, because if they went to get removal for this one, we have a second one now. And if it's just an Ancestral here, we still have hope. Okay, it is. They have a mitt full, folks. I have had these Oath of Druids for a very long time. Demonic Tutor. Okay, that's a bit scary, isn't it? I have been playing Magic Online very shortly after the original set was released, which was, I believe it was 7th edition, and then Invasion is when I came in around. I may have that confused now. It's been quite a long time, like over 20 years ago. So a little disappointed to see my opponent get another turn here, but it's not the worst. Really, it's contingent on whether my opponent has a Yogg Will or not. But that could be a death blow if my opponent has a wheel here or something like that. Okay, his Blessing. Okay. So it looks like my opponent's playing Oath of Druids here, which is a surprise to me. I was not really thinking that way, but it looks like we might be playing the Mirror. They might find themselves an Orchard here, which would be bad. We are not running a Gaia's Blessing. That is not an Orchard. There goes. Oops. I meant to, it doesn't matter because I don't have the Grizzle brand here. I guess what I could do is give my opponent another token here. And I think I will. So I can draw a mitt full of cards here. Yeah, these are... like, the recall was not good. I need Force of Will. We're going to take the land here. We're going to take Narset, and I guess Oath of Druids is probably fine. I think that's it. And we're going to do it again. And we're getting a little bit lower on resources here, but I'd like to fill my hand up. Go again, yep. Oh, only 8 cards left. Yikes. Okay, maybe that wasn't a good idea. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not funny. That's why we maybe want cards like Gaea's Blessing, but there's Atraxa. We don't want Atraxa, so we could look at Show and Tell. I think we take another Force of Will. I think Show and Tell. The problem with Show and Tell is if my opponent actually has a creature here, it's really bad for me with the Grizzlebrand, and Grizzlebrand is not that impactful here. Like, I don't really want Ancestral Recall here. Maybe I just want, like, Force of Will. Okay, Demonic Tutor is distinctly the best thing here, and maybe I just want Traxa for another... No, I think I want Atraxa in my deck. Yeah, that was a bit of a bust, but in truth, I guess we didn't really want a whole lot more. Because we don't want to have less cards in our library. But we have more than enough time to kill our opponent here. A Time Walk. See if we can resolve this through... well, we can get it through a Fluster. But we do have double Force of Will right now, which is pretty good. Okay, that resolves. Alrighty. But we don't need to do anything here. And we are not going to Oath. No, thank you. Okay, so we're going to cast our own Narset here. And this should resolve. Definitely don't want to draw with it. I'm just not interested in drawing a card right now. And if they lose a Crypt Flip here, we could just win next turn. They did win it. I think they're going to have a hard time winning here, but... Okay, nice win for us. So we are definitely playing a mirror here. Of some extent, anyways. I do like that I have the Grizzle brand here for this. Um, I think I'm just apt to play a little bit of a slower game here. So one of my logics here is cutting the Oath of Druids is that I believe my opponent has their own Oath of Druids, and it does the same thing on their side versus whether it would be on my side. So it's almost a win to do something like that. I could bring this in to stop an Oko. Oko cannot touch this. It's another Tinker target. I could see something like that. It's obviously the worst one to hit off my deck, but I mean, there's not much you can do about that. Cut an Oath of Druids. Let's try this out, guys. I like this. We're just going for a longer game here. I like this. We've got an Orchard. Obviously, having two cards in our hand is not ideal, but I think this is okay. I say, like, if my opponent slams an Oath, it's just really good for me. But I'm obviously taking a gambit here. I'm not 100% sure that my opponent's on Oath, but I believe they are. So this is a situation that I'm talking about. We sided our oaths out, and we're looking pretty smart here. Now, if they have their own orchard, we're not so great, but we've stayed alive. Now we have two of our five creatures now in our hand, but so they do have their own orchard, and we are going to start trading orchard tokens here because I have the time walk, and I believe that will put me ahead. Yes, blessing. Yes, that resolves. A little unfortunate they had the orchard there, but it's just like they're almost mulliganing by being the ones that have the oath, right? So next turn, right, if this time walk resolves, they're going to go get a second orchard here. But my hope is that I'm going to be able to find a second one here before they do. Like I'm hoping I'm going to be able to trip their oath now before any of that resolves. Because if my time walk works here, we're going to be able to trigger it. Let's see how this goes. So I'm glad I played the orchard for that reason. Because what the orchard does now is it means that I am still going to be ahead. Actually, I won't be, but very close. Okay. And I'm presuming they went and got an orchard of their own here. If they did not, then we're in good shape. I think it's inconsequential. We just trade some damage here. We don't want to take more than necessary. So they do have double orchard, so they're going to give me two here. They're going to cast an Oko. That would suck for me. Second or Oath. Okay. So I can show and tell here, no problem. Into a Grizzlebrand. They're going to have 4 and they can match it. That will make it 5. They would have the advantage with the Oath if I did this because... Yeah, it's close. I can actually put a Grizzlebrand into play. Or what I could do is I could Demonic Tutor for another one. For another Orchard. I think I like that. Maybe that wasn't optimal. Should have figured that out, that line, before I played my land. That was not ideal. I'm taking some hits here. Now I should be able to take over with the extra Orchard. Do I want Besage you? Don't think so. Actually, I'm going to keep it. And the reason is, guys, is if my opponent finds Tinker somehow... 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I guess I could have attacked in there. It was probably worth it because my opponent's life total is down, but they are on a 2-turn clock from either of my creatures, so it's not all that consequential. I think it was correct to keep the Seiju because one of the only cards that truly gets me is Citadel here. There we go. Did you find your own orchard here? And am I playing too conservatively? As I'm going to get burned as a result. Okay, we got there. I mean, we just had a myriad of options there. Didn't really matter that much, but... Okay, guys, here we are in round 4. Won the die roll. And unfortunately, we don't have an Oath of Druids here. And otherwise, I think this is not bad. We're going to keep this. Turn 2 Oko's nothing to sniff at. Perhaps we can find an Oath of Druids off the top with our top. Surprise him with an Orchard coming down. Okay. Probably will misstep a misstep here. So a pretty vulnerable hand from us, but lots of good options following turn here. How do I feel about that? I think this is okay. Just want to make sure I have the ability to stop a Ragavan. Pithing Needle. Going to continue to get a green source, I think, here. Let's take a look here. Are any of these things something that appeal to me? I think I let this result. Like, how bad do I want my top? I'm gonna let it go because I can just Oko it. Start getting some pressure going. Oh, they know I have Oko. Of course. I don't think I really need any of those. So I can get a black source. Take a peek. Okay. I mean, none of these are super optimal, but I think that's okay. A little bit of a mistake on my part there, not going after the pithing needle. I was not thinking about the Cataxian probe, having seen my hand around my decision making there, and was thinking they were just going to put it on my top, and I was completely happy with that. But an oversight, and of course, Oko was a significant part of my plan here, but that's all right. We got Oath of Druids and Show and Tell. Well, they don't have a land. Okay. Does that change for me? I'm going to take another look here. Okay. Wish I hadn't played the Orchard now. Continue to keep the fluster on top. I think that's fine. As long as my opponent stays on a land here, my Flusterstorm could be, excuse me, highly impactful. I'd be very happy to shuffle away the Atraxa and the Oko here. And if I can find a Show and Tell, we'll keep the Atraxa. I don't like the art on these, the borders and all that stuff. I'm much more a traditionalist. I always like the older arts of any type of Magic cards, despite I think some of the art is amazing itself, but I don't like the treatments on them, the borders, etc. Okay, so once again, I think what I'm going to do here is take a spin. See, I know we have the fetch. We don't want Atraxa. Kind of want this Flusterstorm, to be honest. but I'm not overly happy to draw an Atraxa. Maybe I can bide my time for a turn here. Just keep building up my mana. I am giving my opponent an opportunity to get out of this. That is true. Right, not really wanting any of those. Decided to get rid of my Flusterstorm after all of that. My opponent is likely, so they discarded a Citadel here. Okay. Actually, just going to do this. Brainstorm. We might Pyroblast this, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to fight over it. They are going to do something. They're going to Pyroblast. It's okay. Okay, I do like Force of Will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. We're moving closer towards a hardcast Atraxa here, to be honest. But okay, my opponent's just does not have much going on, apparently. I'm going to put the probe on top. I'm going to get a little bit deeper, and if my opponent wants to Pyroblast this, I'm okay with that too. Pay the life. We have hardcast Force of Will if we need it. Opponent might fight over this. Flusterstorm is messed up. Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't think I need to look here this turn. Mercurial. Ancestral Recall. So they're going to be able to protect that, they think. And they may be able to. Let's find an Oath here. We didn't. Can actually cast it next turn. Could actually cast it this turn, but here we go. Probably will Ancestral during my turn. Oh. Next turn. I've got a Pyroblast covered and a Force. Okay, here's the Ancestral. Yep. And there comes the Pyroblast. Or the Flusterstorm. I have a Force. I still can beat a Fluster. I think it's worth it to do it this way. I can't beat a Pyroblast, but I can beat a Fluster here. And next turn, I hopefully have an opportunity to resolve an Atraxa. Okay, they have another Force. Okay. Yep, it's good. Wow, they had a Tinker. Get my own Tinker. Let's see what you get. Probably not good for me. Hard to believe I lost this one. That I might lose this. Just being way too conservative, I think, in my battling here. My opponent didn't have a second land for like 5 turns. Now, my hand was awkward. What would have been interesting to know is if I would have been able to counter that Pithing Needle if they had that misstep in hand that whole time. We'll never know. Black Lotus. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. Don't want to do my own Tinker here. I think I'm going to try and resolve Atraxa. And then we'll follow up with Tinker. It's the most mana efficient play. Don't anticipate that's going to work because they have Pyroblast like Snapcaster. Well, I guess they don't have both. They can't do both there, but like Atraxa is pretty powerful here. The thing is I guess Citadel just wins though. And it only takes me off it for a turn. Maybe that's incorrect because I can play around Flusterstorm. I think I changed my mind. Because Citadel Tinker is really good. What would be awkward here is an op agent. That would be brutal. They have Force. I got rid of a Hull Breacher. Okay. Let's see what we got here. All right. They one got a Lotus. Are they a breach kill? They've had a lot of counter magic this game, that's for sure. Yeah, Yogwell, that's brutal. I don't think I can beat that. Mm-hmm. Get Saga, yeah. Citadel, yeah. Okay. Okay. I concede there. 10 life is more than enough to work with to be able to bury me here. All right, I think we need to play a little bit more controlling here. Could see a Force of Bigger being relevant. I think we can cut a Grizzlebrand. I still do want my combo here. I think I can cut a Show and Tell as a result of that. Maybe a 2 Show and Tells. I still like Narset. The Seiju is probably reasonable to have a couple of. Of course, we can't have everything. I like Mana Crypt on the play. I still like Citadel. Narset is very strong. I don't think I want Show and Tells here. We're just going to go into controlling mode, and we can herd cast tracks if we need to at some point. Yep. Got 2 powerful planeswalkers here. We've got a Force of Will. We can go into Demonic and get ourselves Black Lotus next turn, potentially. Try and force a Narset through. Like, Narset's pretty strong here. Yep. No land, eh? This Pyroblast sucks here if they have it. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to fight over a Pyroblast, but yeah, I guess I will. I have Oko next turn. Okay, they got a Force. Okay. I mean, this is a very foreseeable outcome. They do have a trump card in the Pyroblast here for sure. Perhaps they're contemplating not forcing here and just untapping and Pyroblasting, which is fairly reasonable with the exception of that. If I find a Force of Will off my Narset or a Mental Misstep, that could backfire on them. Maybe they're just thinking about what they want to pitch here. We know they have another Force of Will. Okay, Mental Misstep. Yep. You got it. Okay, so my opponent and I are both low on resources here. They found a land. Okay. Well, that's disappointing. Okay, just Ancestral. I cannot stop it. It's a gamble doing it this way, but Pyroblast makes us look silly, but I'm going to do it anyways. And in the upkeep, I will, they just got Tinker, yeah. Well, that was a risk, too. Time Volt, yeah. Hopefully they hit a land here or counterspell. Ooh, jeez. I have a chance to kill them with a Time Walk here. If I get to untap. Okay. They probably realized what I was doing and had no counter magic. All right. I think I will be a little bit more on the defensive side, even further here with Mindbreak Trap. Actually, that is not that great to do that because it numbs my Oath down. Maybe I just do this the opposite way. Is there any world where Soul Guide Lantern is better than something in my deck? I don't think so. Let's try this out, guys. Okay. This is what we signed up for. I can force through an Oko turn 1 here. Presume my Lotus survives. Play a Saga. Okay. It's pretty good. Well, do I want to come off my Oko here? Like I can... Do I want to Vigor these? Oh, just a concession. I mean, that was really aggressive from me. What would we have drawn? Okay, amazing. Another Oko, which would have set me up for that. And I still would have had Force of Will live. Okay. Nice win for us there, guys. See you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round 5, and we're playing Show and Oath. I believe that, I think this player is a bizarre player. What do I think of this hand? Don't really like it, to be honest. I think I can do better on the play. Okay. Whoa, I can't even cast that, you son of a gun. I think this is where I want to be. I mean, Oath of Druids is definitely one of my better cards in a match like this. Probably should have played my land first. A little bit worried about getting wastelanded here, but so we're probably looking for a Forbidden Orchard off the top. Actually, that probably won't be relevant if they're on Bazaar. Okay, we did find an orchard. Do I take the Force of Will and crack my thing, or do I bide my time here? And if they choose Sensei's top here, I'm fine with that. I think they will. Yep. Okay, here you go. Saga, yeah. This is some type of shop, so I can't let that resolve. All right. Hopefully they don't have Caracas here. Okay. They're going to have my Mox here, which is unfortunate. We maybe get wastelanded here as well. But it looks like we were going to resolve an Oath trigger, which is good for me. And if it's a Grizzlebrand, I'm really happy. And Atraxa, we will be pleased with that as well. Okay. Grizzle Dog is solid. Okay. Okay. Let's see what they get here, guys. We got a Force of Will with another potential Force of Will if I decide to draw. And definitely can get a Traxa next turn if they can't figure a way to get rid of one of their creatures on the table. Soul Ring, yep. Tabernacle, okay. Tabernacle's solid here. Don't mind if I do. So Mana Vault, Mana Crypt is actually decent here because it's going to allow me to pay for my creatures through Tabernacle with all likelihood. I do think we want to force a will. Don't think I want the other Atraxa. Guess we'll take Narset, and I guess I will take Show and Tell. I'll take a Tropical Island here. It's a lot of power on the board. We're not interested in drawing cards anymore. Don't really care here. I'll play this out, and if they want to wasteland it, I just completely and utterly could live with that. All right, here we go. Ditch this, ditch this. Narset is irrelevant. Demonic Tutor could be fine. I don't really care about Atraxa either. Now my opponent lets their stuff die. Maybe a Golos helps them here. I don't know. But they die next turn, so yeah. All right, shops. Well, don't know how good of a game we have against shops, to be honest, but probably want the negations in here. Not really sure what variant of shops we're playing against. I think the Sphinx is fine. This is awful. We'll get rid of these. Pithing Needle, I could see Pithing Needle be irrelevant. Mental Misstep. Do I really care? No. You could see Probe come out. I think Show and Tell is reasonable. Like Citadel doesn't seem that good on the play, or on the draw especially. Like I could keep Tinker for Sphinx. Just take out a Mystical. You know, it's probably better than Probe. Well, I've taken Probe out already. Okay. So the bad news for us is we don't really have any interaction here. But I think because we have an Oath of Druids, it's reasonable. And we have a Boseiju to potentially be able to blow up any cage. But this is a type of hand that could certainly lose. Yep. So this can shut off my Tarn or my Oko. But I can still actually play out my Oath, despite it cost me my Boseiju to do it. Now, if they have a Chalice, probably I'm going to lose the game. But Long deliberation from what my opponent wants to name here. Yeah, I mean, Scalding Tarn seems correct. Okay. Okay, Force of Will was actually a really good draw for me. And I realize we're probably likely to get wastelanded here, but having the Force of Will to be able to fight is pretty strong. And my opponent, I guess, technically does not need to cast a creature, but they need to weigh that out. Yeah, I was just about to say Urza Saga is definitely one of the cards that they don't have to make tokens. They can go and find a Grafdigger's Cage and do something that way. Now, how do I feel about this? I feel like this is a problem. I don't want to fight over that right now, or be put in a position where they can just kill my lands every turn. Okay. I guess I put this on Urza Saga. I don't know. Maybe Wasteland is just better. Maybe not. Like, this doesn't really stop the Urza Saga from making creatures. Like, if they find a cage, I have a force. I'm going to put it on Wasteland against my better judgment. And if they want to play into my Oath of Druids, I will get an activation. Boy, okay. So that was a mistake. They've got double. We need a land here, guys. Not ideal, but no land anywhere in sight. Okay. It's pretty bad for me. My opponent is not likely to make any tokens here. They are, because they can go and get a cage right now. Yeah, that's nice. So that was a mistake on my part. Of course, I didn't anticipate the second one. I was forced to play my Boseiju out. There's the cage. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is actually surprisingly good. It's going to put me into a Sphinx. So this should be able to keep me alive. The problem that I'm faced with is the Caracas, but I guess Sphinx being on the top is probably my best situation here. Now, this is a lot of damage coming through, but my hope is that I will be able to stabilize here. It'll be close, though. I guess them cracking my top here, if they get a needle on my top, I just die. And they did. So I just die. Smart. Yep. All right. Well, I certainly could have played that better. That goes without saying. I did not play that optimally. In fairness, despite I've played a substantial amount of Oath of Druids, I would not say I'm playing at an elite level. Making some mistakes here. It's been quite some time since I've played it. I should do a little bit better on the play here, I would think. Would have been interesting to see. If I would have been able to win that game. I don't like this hand. Much better. This requires them to have a cage. Okay. We're going to keep this one. I don't think we need another Oath of Druids here. Like, I'm going right for the gusto here. I'm going to put my opponent right to the test. Going to play the Case of a Sphere. I see no reason not to. We'll pass turn. And this is basically the best start that Oath of Druids can have, minus having a Force of Will to protect from the cage. Certainly a cage is going to make this line not good, but my opponent needs to have something for this. Okay. Okay. We're going to get a trigger here, which is likely game winning, I would think. Okay. What's better here, Soul Ring or Black Lotus? I would think Soul Ring. And I don't want the basic island. I'm going to take the fetch here. I want Force of Will. I don't think I want Show and Tell. Demonic Tutor is definitely the better of the spells here. And, right. So we've got an artifact, we've got a land, we've got an instant, we've got a sorcery. I believe that's everything, right? Artifact, land, instant, sorcery. Yeah. Okay. That's unfortunate we drew that. But I guess the show and tell does help there. Gonna go get a swamp. Gonna dig through time. Where it's a bit awkward here with this line is that if they wasteland me and play a cage, they don't have a cage in hand because they would have done it last turn. But what does Demonic Tutor do for me? I guess next turn it lets me show and tell. I don't know how I feel about show and telling here. Maybe just going to get a time walk is really good. Yeah, I don't think I need to do it. So a little bit of a mistake there fetching. Should have thought it through a little bit more. But my opponent's going to have a hard time handling the Atraxa here if they don't have a practice. I am not looking to Oath again here. Yep. Golos is definitely, they're really wanting that Caracas. So one of the things that we can do here is we could Demonic Tutor for a Pithing Needle to put on Caracas. I don't think we need to fight over a Nettle Cyst here. I could see this thing growing quite large. I don't think we want to Oath here, guys. This is an 8 caster. Let's go get a time walk, I think. Where it becomes a problem for me, potentially, is if my opponent finds a Caracas. That's where this becomes a troublesome situation for me. But okay, well, we're going to put that to rest right now. So I could have cast these things for this turn, but I think that's okay. Just ensuring like this attracts is winning next turn, right? And if they go and they look for a ensnaring bridge or something like that, we have the force here. Okay, nice win for us here, guys. We will definitely take that one. Solid league, and yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys hanging out. It's a lot of fun, and please hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to see you guys next